This program is being recorded for the Lewis County Rock and Gem Society. This month's program is about lapidary equipment. We'll be briefly going through a variety of different equipment options that you can investigate to make it so that you can take the rocks that you have found to final stage. Now that you've found the rocks, what can you use to make them radiant? From raw to refined, process them to polished completion. Processing methods include tumbling, cutting, shaping, polishing, and alternatively, you can leave your piece in a raw state or any sort of mid-state in between raw and polished. We'll start with hand pieces. A variety of hand pieces exist on the market. Common ones include Fordham, Dremel, and a variety of other ones from China, Japan, as well as modified drills. We have a Fordham in the upper right, a Dental low speed in the lower right, and a Dremel in the center. Most of these can be found rather easily online. To use with a handpiece, it's suggested to include bits that offer different coarse options. So you'll start with coarse and build your way up to polish. Up at the top, we've got a visual example of Nova polishing bits, and you can see the different colors indicate different coarsenesses. So coarseness begins for bulk and aggressive trim and shaping. Medium coarseness evens out shape and texture. Fine finishes shape and evens out texture. And pre-polish evens texture out even further, taking it to that final stage for polishing, which evens the texture to a gloss state. Saws. What we see on screen right now is actually an industrial rock saw used for slabbing out marble and similar massive rock slabs. Slab saws are an option that we can have at home. These vary in size from about 14, 18, 20, all the way up to 30 and 60-inch wheels. These are usually used to take the bulk raw stone and cut it into more manageable sizes. After it's in a more manageable size, that's when you take it to your trim saw, and you can take slabs and cut them into prepped sizes ready for dopping and cabbing. There are also options for more detailed cuts. A ring saw, these are more specialty for very fine-tuned and sharp cuts and curves, not suggested for bulk trimming, specifically for specialty cuts. Cabochon arbors. Cab arbors vary from multi to single wheel. And there's a variety of different companies and proprietary designs out there. Common names that you might see might be Lortone, Highland Park, Cab King, among others. We can see up in the upper left, we have a 5-wheel machine. And this is actually technically a combo because it has a polishing head on the end. The middle image is somebody actively using a Cab King multi-wheel, and you can see how they've got their cabochon on a dopping stick. And then taking it to a improvised device, what we see on the far right is actually something that somebody homemade. And safety measures have been put in place with that shroud. But you can kind of see how they basically just stuck a spindle into their motor and attached grinding wheels onto that. Nothing will stop a dedicated lapidary artist. If you want to cut and trim rocks, you will figure out how to cut and trim rocks. Combo machines usually include a saw in addition to an arbor wheel. As you can see, I've got 2 different examples up on the screen. The smaller example to the left is a single wheel and single blade, and a larger combo fixture to the right is a Covington 3-wheel with a saw. Flat lap machines. Flat lap machines are usually used for faceting or freehand cabbing. Oftentimes, they include some sort of reservoir device. As you can see, we've got a couple of different styles here. This 6-inch high-tech diamond is very economic as well as space-saving. It's not that big on the countertop, and you obviously can see that its water irrigation system isn't necessarily something that needs to be plumbed. This is very space-efficient. This inland into the left image. This is a larger unit. I want to say that this is a 14-inch. As you can see, it's all in one. Everything is integrated. The water unit is actually built into the bottom portion. However, because of obvious reasons, this one definitely takes up more real estate. With a flat lapping machine, this is usually what people use for faceting. A vibrating flat lap polisher. This is a lovely option if you're trying to polish flat faces, slabs, or shapes like this pyramid in this right image. Vibrating flat laps often need a lubrication as well as the possibility of transferring discs to grade up or down your coarseness. Tumblers. The example on the image shown here is actually an industrial tumbler. This is over 12 feet tall. Just kind of shows you the wide variety of tumblers that exist out in the world. And there's tumblers for all occasions, small, medium, large, and unique. We've got a couple of different examples here, a couple homemade ones and a couple store-bought ones. So in this upper right picture, we have a vibrating tumbler well. This is something that opens from the top. You add your vibrating medium as well as any sort of polishing grit and turn it on and let it go. Unlike conventional rock tumblers that you'd see typically, a tumbler with a barrel seen in this middle image right here. This is usually what you might find as like a starter's tumbler. Motors included with a single barrel, again, changing out your medium and your grit as you progress. Alternately, you might have something that includes larger devices, using a single motor to pulley more than one barrel. This image in the lower right is actually a homemade multi-barrel tumbler. And as you can kind of see, they've actually got these labeled 80, 220, and 400. So this is really cool in that they made this out of PVC piping and caps and just kind of like modified their own thing. Again, you won't stop somebody that really is dedicated and wants to tumble or make their own lapidary equipment. And super low budge, not suggested, but definitely wanted to be shown for posterity, is this really funny one with a Black & Decker drill. You can see that they basically zip tied this so that this juice jug here on the drill bit stays in constant motion. Polishers. How do you get that glossy shine after you've shaped it the way that you want it? You polish, polish, polish. A variety of machines already include options for wet polishing. Cab machines usually have a polishing head on the end. Flat laps can also use wet polishing, and then hand polishing as well using a handpiece. But then there's a variety of different options for dry polishing. And we see two of our most kind of trade famous Richardson Rock Ranch designs of a flat polisher as well as a padded polisher. Both of these are dry and must be used with safety precautions in place. Drill presses. These are really interesting devices that allow you to tap clean holes through slabs, beads, or any other rock that you have processed. These are to be used with diamond bits and often require lubrication or some sort of applied moisture so that it doesn't overheat, crack your stone, and wreck it. Up in the upper right, we see a more affordable drill press. This one ranges anywhere from about $50 to $100 and is really great for like a starting lapidary artist. Versus this drill press to the lower left is actually a faceting drill press that is of jeweler grade. And as you can see, it has enhanced tools to allow better alignment between your drill bit and its contact with whatever stone you are tapping. That's so boring. A boring lapidary machine is something else that kind of applies similarly to a drill press in that this allows you to tap a bead face to bore holes in the sides of them. This is usually common with like a pearl, not necessarily being tapped all the way through like a bead, but tapped for maybe something like a post earring. This is also a really common ability to use after bead sphering is to tap one side of it. That way, a single band accessory can be fixed into that newly created hole. Sphere machines and bead mills are a wonderful accent to any lapidary collection. However, these typically ebb on the more high end of the budget. We can see a bead mill in the lower left. This is really interesting machine in that it actually uses a couple of different features. There is a tumbler within this that actually forces your rock medium to be abraded in a perfect round. And then once you have that, you basically have a holeless bead, which you then tap using a drill press. Similarly, concept to making round beads is a sphering machine which uses 3 motors simultaneously and actually rotates the rock in a uniform fashion, grinding it so that eventually the cupped faces will abrade it into a nice smooth round. As always, please involve safety measures into any lapidary adventure. If you get equipment, make sure that you employ vacuums, irrigation, whether that's water or oil, dust mitigation, as well as masks and eye protection. Many rocks create toxic materials when they are crowned and broken up. So the more measures that you can use to make yourself safer, the better off that you will be to enjoy lapidary for years to come. Online vendors include Kingsley North, Covington, Lorton, Highland Park, and Rio Grande. Many of these are distributors, but also you can buy brand new material and brand new machinery directly from vendors. Highland Park, Lorton, and Covington also have really extensive PDF libraries of previous issued models, which is relative to the other option, which is to buy it used via social media or online. Make sure that if you're buying used, that you check the make and model online to ensure that what is listed is actually what you are buying. Oftentimes, people say that they might have a Lorton or a Highland Park based off of its color, which isn't necessarily wrong. However, this might be incorrectly prescribed and the price might be inaccurate depending on the brand. Another thing is ask for pictures. If they can post an ad, then hopefully if you have questions about like the spindle, how does it spin, that they can oblige you with a little bit more detail before you visit and throw down money for it. Be prepared to clean and fix something up before you actually use it. Oftentimes, even if it's ready to go, you will have to either set up a work area, any sort of safety measures, water or vacuum, as well as like just making sure that everything is functioning properly. It might need a grease or a new belt or a new motor. And then lastly, biggest warning of all is just buyer beware when purchasing online. You don't want to get scammed over something that you thought was a Highland Park and it wasn't. By all means, this is no definitive list. This is just a cruise through some really keen options that offer lapidary arts in a more economic and space conscious uh, kind of design. There's a wide variety of equipment out there for everybody. And depending on what your needs are, you can expand or retract as much as you need to. So explore what equipment suits your needs. Stay safe and have fun. Happy 2021.